So today we need to talk about a topic that a lot of you, even those of you who have maybe been studying this for a long time, still struggle with or still feel like you don't have the full answer on how to do this. And that is reacting. How do you really stop reacting to the 3D? How do you stop being in resistance to the 3D or just resistance in and of itself? How do you genuinely stop being in that cycle of reacting and therefore recreating and then reacting and therefore recreating? How do you stop that? A lot of you still seem to be confused about this. So I'm going to go in depth into this. I'm going to try to give you a different spin on this that's going to help you to release your resistance, and we're gonna talk. But in case you don't know me yet, my name is Genevieve. Welcome to the channel. I am a manifestation coach. On this channel, I talk about all things law of assumption related and anything that is supportive to you in your manifesting journey in general. We address it all. I try to go really in depth and give you some answers or advice or perspectives that maybe you haven't heard before that will really help things click in a different way, so you're not just hearing the same parroted manifestation things over and over again and it's like it's just not landing deeper. Here we help things to land deeper. So if you want to work with me, if you like my style of coaching, there are lots of links below for how you can work with me. There's courses. You can do a one-on-one coaching session with me if you really want that support about your circumstances and what you're manifesting. Check that out and let me know if you have any questions, and let's get into this very important, very juicy topic. So I was inspired to bring this up again because I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before. Maybe I'll link somewhere up here a video where I've talked about reacting before, but I was inspired to bring this up again and talk about reacting again because I've noticed all of a sudden an uptick in my clients having this theme of I get on the phone with them, I ask them for an update, and it's just a litany of, well, here's all the things that are going wrong in the 3D, and it's just this thing and everything is wrong, and then they'll do this laundry list of the 3D, of all the things that are wrong in the 3D, how things aren't going the way that they would like them to go. And then sometimes they'll even have the gall or the ignorance really to say, well, I'm starting to doubt that manifestation works because everything is going wrong and it's just everything is so bad. And I laugh and say ignorance because to me, from my healthy perspective, I can see that manifesting is working perfectly for them, and them thinking that, oh, maybe manifesting doesn't work because all my circumstances are wrong, shows that on some level they still have a fundamental misunderstanding of how manifesting really works. Because to remind you, manifestation is all about where you're focusing your attention, where you are reacting or not reacting. And if you get on a call with a coach like me and the first 10 minutes is just you not talking about yourself at all, but talking about why all the circumstances in your life are really bad right now, how you're really reacting to them, how you cannot handle them, and then you wonder if manifestation works, to me, I'm like, yeah, it works extremely well. You're being a very good manifester right now in that where your attention is right now, you're getting more of it. Because if you're in that kind of a cycle with the 3D where it gives you something and you react to it, and then it gives you more of it and then you react to it, and then it gives you more of it and then you react to it, that's what manifesting is, especially as you get more momentum and you and the 3D really start vibing. It can work for you in a negative way, like some of my clients talk about, or it can work in that positive way that is the goal that all of us are starting to do, where we start to align ourselves internally first, because you always have to go first. The 3D never gives you permission to go first. It really doesn't give you a good circumstance first, and then you respond positively to it, and then it gets even more positive, and then you respond more positively. Although I will say that definitely can happen, that sometimes the 3D gives you something good, seemingly random to you, and you can, of course, gain momentum off of that. But what I see most people are doing is the 3D is trying to give them something good. The 3D is trying to conform to their desire. And instead of actually using that little piece of goodness the 3D just gave you, the manifester will go, well, that's not enough. That's not That's not what I asked for. This isn't what I wanted. And so they'll still reject the good momentum that's trying to start. They'll still say, well, that's not the wish fulfilled. That's not what I wanted. When really it was like, okay, you were supposed to use that positive, that little glimmer of positive feedback. You were supposed to use that, bring your focus to it even more, and then watch it grow. Because what most people are doing when you guys are in this cycle of like reaction, in the negative way, you see a little bit of bad and you fixate on it. And you're like, oh my gosh, this must mean that I can't have what I want, or that it's not working, or that I'm not doing enough. And then you start to bring all of your focus. It's like, nope, I don't see the wish fulfilled. I'm only thinking about this thing that I'm reacting to. And then because that's what you're focusing on, you get more of it. And then you focus even more on it, and then you get more of it. So again, I hope this is making sense. That it's like, even though negative things are happening, if you're reacting over and over again, it shows how well manifestation works, because this is all about where are you internally focused? What are you internally keeping your attention on? And are you keeping your attention on that thing in a way that makes you feel good, or are you putting your attention on that thing in a way that makes you feel like crap and makes you feel like you don't have what you want? But I have to pause myself sometimes, like when I'm on a lot of calls that have this same theme that I'm talking about, where it's a lot of just constant, nonstop reaction to the 3D. I, as a coach, can sometimes get frustrated because I'm like, oh my gosh, why aren't people getting it? Like, it's so obvious that you shouldn't be reacting to the 3D. You should be practicing detachment to the 3D, practicing being more indifferent and bringing your focus back to your internal world and detaching from the cycle you've created with your old 3D world. But I have to remind myself that even though that's a very simple concept, and I'm sure that even me just explaining that to you right now, you're like, yeah, of course, I get it. That's how it works. But it's not always easy to practice in real time, especially when you have so much attachment, so much momentum, if you want to call it, to particular dynamics or particular circumstances, especially when it comes to things that are really emotionally triggering to most people, like an SP situation or something that just feels very high stakes to them, like their health or your money situation, things that just feel very high stakes. It is difficult. I don't mean to say it as like a limiting belief, but technically human nature makes it feel like it's difficult to see something pop up in your 3D, especially something that totally feels like the opposite of what you are going for. It's difficult to see the thing pop up and not be like, whoa, wasn't wanting that, wasn't wanting that at all. So I have to remind myself sometimes as a coach that we need to approach these human nature issues in a way that doesn't just cause more resistance. Because I think some people's style of coaching, I'm not totally sure, because I honestly don't watch a lot of other people's stuff and videos and stuff, but I think some people's coaching, the impression that I've gotten, is to be kind of like tough love, like just to be like, yep, just buck up and do it, just don't react anymore, just like figure it out and stop being dumb and just stop reacting and just stick to the wish fulfilled. And I get it. I can be tempted sometimes as a coach to want to go there, because again, it seems to me, especially when I'm talking to someone where I can see them clearly, I can see so obviously what they are doing wrong, but they are so in their reality, it's like a web that they're stuck in that they just can't get out of. And so even though I can see it clearly, like, you're obviously doing it wrong and the answer is honestly quite simple, but you just can't see it because you're so wrapped up in yourself. Anyway, it's not going to help necessarily for me to then meet their resistance with my own resistance in terms of being like, well, you just need to figure it out. So anyway, me saying that right now, I'm saying that as a segue into this approach that I want to give to you today that is going to help this, like working with your humanness, not trying to like resist yourself and get mad at yourself because you can't seem to stop reacting to the 3D. Getting mad at yourself about it and getting frustrated with yourself about it is not going to help. That resistance that you're creating inside, that's keeping you even farther from the wish fulfilled. So trying to fight off your nature of constantly reacting to things you don't like, trying to fight that off, is probably not going to work very well in the long run for most people. So today, let's try it differently. Here's my new approach that we're going to try. And I'm actually going to we're going to do together a little experiment, because this is very experiential. Because also a thing that I've noticed, especially when it comes to law of assumption, this is very heady. It's very intellectual. It's one of those things that feels like, oh yeah, I get it. Like you've heard it all enough so much, a lot of you, that you think like, yeah, I get it. You just stay in the wish fulfilled and you think from the end and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of you know that, but you don't do it. Like you're not really applying it. You're keeping it very intellectual. You're not really applying the knowledge. And so that's why I want to do something with you in this video that's going to help you to experience what I want you to feel, and not just explain it to you and then you intellectualize it, but then you never actually apply it. So we're going to do that in just a little bit. But before we do that, I want to explain back to basics how you manifest, because if you're watching this and you're still a little bit new, or you're still, even maybe you're not new, but you're still just a little bit unclear on like, okay, so what do I do besides reacting? Like, what am I supposed to do to actually manifest? So bringing it back to basics, how you manifest is whatever you internally know to be true. You have this internal focus that says, I just know that I always have hundreds and hundreds more dollars than I actually need. I just know that. And whenever you think of money, your attention, you're training your attention to go back to the having of that. So another really big thing when it comes to manifesting is that we are thinking from the end. And that means we're thinking from the already having it. We're not thinking of desire. A lot of people too, especially the people that I've recently been talking to, like I mentioned, my client calls, where they're all about their circumstances and then they doubt that manifestation even works. They are often very much thinking of their desire, where they think, well, the universe knows what I want. How come the universe won't just give it to me? How come it's so difficult? And it's like thinking of desire, thinking of the thing you want, doesn't do anything. If we're just thinking of, oh, I want this relationship, or oh, I want this money, or I want this job, or this body, or whatever, if we're just thinking, I want that, we are not saying that we have it. And being good, conscious manifestors, we know, okay, internally, I have to claim it. Before I see any evidence of it, I have to really internally claim it. And I do that by keeping my focus on already having it. I'm not keeping my focus on, oh, I want it, but my circumstances say I don't have it. Oh, I want it, but my circumstances say I don't have it. We're not doing that anymore. And again, if you're doing that and then wondering why this doesn't work, again, it's working perfectly for you, but it's working perfectly for you in that negative sense. So instead, we got to bring it to, I already have it. The thing that I want, I already have it. And you can claim the already having of it through affirmations. You can claim the already having it through a visualization, or the combination of both, or scripting, or meditating with visualizations. Like there's lots of different techniques, and all of the techniques are simply in place to remind you that you already have it. And it's a completely internal experience, because another thing that you step into as you get deeper into conscious manifesting is the knowing that your entire life is just you experiencing yourself. It's not the world doing anything to you. It is you look out here and you have a perception, and your perception is extremely unique because you are the only operant power of your reality. So when you look at something out here, you're the only one that sees it in exactly the way that you see it. You see something and you immediately, because your brain is so amazing, you immediately attach 100 meanings to it. And those 100 meanings that you attach to that thing you see out here are a little bit different than the other person that sees maybe the same stimuli, but they've got some different meanings that they attach to that. So we as conscious manifestors are learning how to be very conscious meaning makers. And what I mean by conscious meaning makers is that we're remembering I always have choice of what I make anything mean, because whatever I make mean, I'm making my place in the world. I'm making my identity. Like all the meanings that I create, they are coming from an identity that I'm internally experiencing, that I am internally cultivating. And when I'm becoming conscious, I want to internally cultivate everything to mean obviously something that supports the direction I want to go, and is not supporting just old stuff that doesn't feel good, that creates a lot of chaos or things I don't want. So we're not doing that. And that's also why it's so important to not react to things you don't want. Stop giving the same meanings to the things you don't want, because it's just keeping you in the old story and that same momentum of creating the same thing over and over again. So instead we're stepping into, okay, if my entire life is just me experiencing myself and all of this is just stimuli that is actually meaningless until me, the human, sees it and gives it a meaning, and I can give it whatever meaning I want, then that means that in this life I can decide 100% what is meant for me. I can decide 100% what my destiny is. God is working through me. My universe, the universe is not outside of me. The universe is completely within me, working through me, through the rules that I have created inside here. The universe can never give me something outside my own rules, because the universe is me working through the rules I've given it. So I'm going to consciously practice the having of this thing that I want to have. And I'm not thinking of it like, oh, I'd like to have that. I'm thinking, I already have this. This is a specific thing that I have. And when I claim it, I feel some relief. I feel good. I feel natural in it. I start to feel like, yep, this is real. I repeat it a lot so that it feels more and more natural. And I'm staying pretty indifferent, pretty neutral. If something comes up out here that's still just a reflection of my old story, I am practicing being like, okay, whatever, I'm neutral to it. I just don't care anymore. So I wanted to give you that rundown of like, let's get back to basics of like how we manifest, so that you remember why it's important not to react to your old circumstances and all of that fun stuff. But now let's move into this thing that I want to do with you. And this is for, well, it's for everyone, but it's especially for those of you who are really just triggered by the 3D right now. Like maybe you are like some of my clients where you've gotten so much momentum in just everything's wrong. I'm just freaking the F out. Like everything is wrong and I can't even see the forest through the trees because it's just, everything just feels so crazy. So right now, I want you to think of a situation, a manifestation, a person, a thing, something that you feel the most reactionary to right now. And you might feel resistant to even doing this, but we're doing this with an empowered purpose. We're doing this to neutralize your reaction to it, to neutralize your AKA resistance to it. So think of something, and it could be, I don't know, a third-party situation in your relationship. It could be debt. It could be your health issue that you're totally freaking out about. Something that is in your reality, your old reality, that really bothers you, that really drums up a reaction to you in terms of when you see that thing in the 3D, you are just like, ugh, like cannot not react to it. So think of that thing. And then I want you to close your eyes. And I'm just going to do this with you. So you're thinking of this thing that really pisses you off, this thing that really scares you, this circumstance. And just start by breathing. We're just starting with breathing because we want to bring yourself into the present moment of your body. Because the more that you think about this thing, the more you're creating it. So we're calling it into mind and then we're dropping into the body. So it's still kind of here in the mind, but now we're just dropping into the body with our breath. So you're breathing. And then I want you to do a body scan. So that means bringing your awareness, let's start at your toes, your feet. Bringing your awareness to your feet and then working your awareness all the way up your body. So it moves across your feet, it moves up your calves, it moves past your knees, past your thighs. And you can go as fast or as slow as you want, but I want you to notice as you're doing this body scan, where you feel the most activated in your body by this thing that you're so reactionary to. So you're kind of doing the body scan just sort of in a very scientific, neutral, compassionate way. Just kind of asking your body, like, where does the reaction to this currently live in my body? For a lot of you, it could be your stomach somewhere. For some of you, it could be in your shoulders. For some of you, it could be right in the middle of your chest and your heart chakra. For some of you, it really could just be in your head. Doesn't matter where it is, but just notice where you are kind of lead, where you feel the most energy, just notice where that is. And just keep breathing. And as you finish the body scan, now I want you to bring your full attention to that location in your body that was the most activated by this thing in your quote unquote reality, the circumstance that really bothers you. So you're bringing your full attention to it, that place in your body, and keep your focus on just the physical sensations of that part of you. Does it feel tight in that spot? Does it feel like there's an emotion sensation in that spot? And you're not thinking about it, you're just noticing what's happening. You're just noticing the physical sensations or emotions that are coming up here. And now we're going to bring in the neutralizer. And by that I mean, I want you to see a laser beam of light. And this light can be whatever color you intuitively feel is the right color to help neutralize this thing. So whatever color comes to you first, just know that that is the right color in terms of the light that is going to soothe and take care of this. And now I want you to see this beam of light, and it could look almost like a laser, or it could look like a sun shining on you. But you're going to see it like coming into this part of you. Like wherever the location is in your body, it's like shining and penetrating deep into your body. And as you are just seeing this in your mind's eye, and maybe even feeling it now, know that this light is completely protecting you from the activation of this reaction. This light is coming in, it is neutralizing you, it is taking care of the processing of this old thing that bothers you. It is coming in and just completely holding it for you. It is just bathing it in this very active, powerful light that is taking the weight off of you. It is taking the burden off of you. And as you relax, because now you are feeling total permission to relax, that you don't need to fight this thing anymore, you don't need to think about this thing anymore, you know that you have just allowed this thing to be taken care of by the greater powers of the universe. The you that is infinite and knows how to just let this thing dissolve, that higher version of you is coming in with the help of God, of course, because you are an extension of God, is coming in and just holding this and processing this for you and taking care of it. So now you have total permission to just breathe and relax. There's nothing else to think about with this. It's not something you need to fight against. It's not something you need to manage. It's not something you need to worry about anymore. It's being completely taken care of and held by this light. And if in your imagination you intuitively see the light kind of move and do different things in your body, maybe you even start to feel different activations in your body, of even like a kundalini energy activating, that's awesome, that's great. It just means that you are starting to reclaim your energy from this thing. So just let that happen. And just sit with it and watch how it moves, feel how it moves. But if you also don't feel a ton of movement, that's also totally okay. Just keep breathing and knowing, tapping into the knowing. This is where it's important to keep your focus, your attention on the knowing that this is taken care of. You don't even need to think about this. And even if you saw it again in the 3D, that seeing of it is just your reminder that it's totally being taken care of, that it's not your problem to think about. You don't need to fight it. You don't need to worry about it. You are now totally able to be completely non-resistant to it. You can be completely indifferent to it because you know it's being taken care of. So just take a couple breaths now. And whenever you feel ready, let's open our eyes and come back. So how did that feel to do that? For a lot of you, you probably felt instant shifts around this circumstance or around this thing. And for some of you, you might need to do that a few times to keep neutralizing the energy over and over and over again. But this is going to be a healthier way to interact with yourself around the things that you keep reacting to than trying to just fight it off in your mind. Because again, I know law of assumption is a very intellectual thing. A lot of it does just come from our thinking, where again, like as I said, like what you're keeping your attention on in your mind is what's going to grow. What you focus on grows. So that is very much in the mind. But when you're trying to battle reactions or your resistance from the mind, it's actually cutting you off from the body manifestation that just wants to be released. Because often, especially when we have a lot of prior momentum to something bad, like an illness or just any problem that we have perceived in the 3D, when that's such an alive dynamic for us and it's so hard to stop reacting, it's often something very alive in your body that is the reason that you can't seem to stop reacting to it. So if you can bring it, okay, I'm not going to think about this anymore. It's not really helping to try to fight it off in my thinking. So I'm going to bring it into my body and use my energy moving powers to transmute this, to neutralize it. And that, what I just gave you, is one of the great ways to do that. So there you go. I hope that this all landed very well for you. I know it did. And this was very helpful to you. It is so important to stop reacting. It is, but I get it that it's not always super easy to just stop reacting in a mental sense. Sometimes, like I just said, you got to do it. You got to address the issue of reacting and resistance that comes with reacting in a deeper body sense. But now that I've explained to you the whole mechanisms of how manifesting works in this video, I know that you are getting this deeper. You are feeling finally empowered, because that's also really what I really want everyone to feel when they're manifesting, is to genuinely feel like this is fun, like this is empowering, and not like this is, oh, I'm just trying to fix everything and I'm trying to use manifestation to fix things because everything's wrong. If you're trying to employ manifestation techniques from that really disempowered state of trying to fix something, this is not going to be fun, and it's probably just going to make things worse until you can start to see things from a different way. And when you do those energy moving things, it can help you to naturally let go of that resistance without having to think about it and just naturally move into the more empowered state. So anyway, let me know if you have any thoughts or questions about future videos you want me to make or things you want me to address. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good rest of your day.